Your memory is constantly lying to you. We tend to think of our brains as a perfect recording device, capturing our lives frame by frame. But that is a complete physical impossibility. Let's test this. Think about a 10-day vacation that, objectively speaking, was a complete disaster. For 9 straight days it rained, the airline lost your luggage, you got severe food poisoning on day 3 and spent most of the trip staring at the tiles of a hotel bathroom wall. Then, on day 10, the weather breaks, the sun comes out, and you have one genuinely perfect, relaxing dinner right at sunset. Ask yourself about that trip 6 months later, and you will almost certainly describe it as a great vacation. We possess a massive psychological blind spot. We actively delete 90% of our actual lived reality from the record, and that missing data creates a vacuum in our understanding of how we make future choices. To isolate exactly why we do this, psychologist Daniel Kahneman designed a highly controlled lab test. He brought subjects in and asked them to submerge their hands into water cold enough to cause severe, aching physical pain. This diagram maps the 2 options tested. Trial A is exactly 60 seconds of intense freezing pain. Trial B is the exact same 60 seconds, followed by an extra 30 seconds where the water warms up slightly. It still hurts, but less. After experiencing both, the researchers asked the subjects a simple question. Which of the 2 trials do you want to repeat? The subjects overwhelmingly chose to repeat Trial B. Look closely at what that means mathematically. These people are voluntarily choosing to endure an extra 30 seconds of physical agony. Human beings will actively increase their own total suffering, provided the experience ends on a slightly less painful note. Our memory is completely disconnected from rational logic. This specific error in human judgment is known as duration neglect. This chart tracks how discomfort scales over time. But according to duration neglect, the brain entirely deletes the actual length of the experience. The horizontal axis is thrown out. Instead of logging a timeline, the brain only records 2 things. First, it logs the single highest point of intensity from the entire event. We call this the peak. Second, it logs the very last moments of the experience, the end. The total time you spent suffering is mathematically irrelevant. Your subjective reality is simply a calculated average of how intense the peak was and how the event ended. If the human brain is this easily hacked by how things wrap up, we don't have to be victims of the glitch. We can engineer the illusion ourselves. We can use a method called peak end engineering to actively manipulate our own psychology. Take physical fitness. The standard mistake is pushing yourself through a brutal, exhausting workout and then stopping the moment you hit the absolute peak of misery. Instead, tack on a 5-minute, highly enjoyable, easy cool-down at the very end of the session. You are artificially injecting a positive final data point into the timeline. The same applies to your professional life. A stressful 10-hour workday naturally gets logged by the brain as a purely negative memory, which destroys your motivation to wake up and do it again. To fix this, deliberately engage in a highly positive ritual the minute you leave. Play your absolute favorite song on the drive home to rewrite that day's final entry. By intentionally manufacturing a positive final moment, you overwrite the memory of the struggle. You are actively tricking your own brain into wanting to do the hard work again tomorrow.